Alright, king prawn curry, or jumbo shrimp curry, as some of you may know. Well, the star of the show is 300 grams of peeled, uncooked jumbo shrimp or king prawns. I've got a couple of, these are carapili leaves which have been dried, or curry leaves. That's some panch poran. Both of those are used to sweeten the fat before we start frying. There's a little bit of sugar, because whenever I use chilies I like to balance it with a little bit of sugar. I've got some of my homemade curry powder, and there'll be a link to that in the description below and in the cards above the video. There's a tablespoon of red paprika, that's sweet red paprika. There's some garam masala, which is my homemade garam masala, but you can use any store-bought curry powder garam masala of your choice. I've also got a little bit of tamarind, which gives a nice acidic kick, along with a lime, which I've got over here. That'll also give an acidic kick. You can use any kind of tomatoes you got, fresh or canned. I'm using these preserved tomatoes. These are preserved, Bulgarian preserved tomatoes from a big jar. And over here I've got about 9 shallots, 4 bird chilies, half a head of garlic which is peeled. I've got a good inch piece of, maybe a little bit bigger, of ginger. I've got that lime I mentioned before, and I've got an Indian bay leaf. You can use ordinary bay leaves for this. And the furry thing over here, that's dhania, or that's what we call coriander, fresh coriander, which is a nice garnish. Also over here I've got a little pan. I use this for a number of things, eggs, but also for roasting, toasting my spices. I've only got that out because I'm making saffron rice, and there'll be a link to my saffron rice recipe above and in the comments. Right, let's get this thing started. First of all, I want to show you how I'm butterflying the prawns. And the way I do this, these are all butterflied, so they're all split along like that, and they'll curl up nice when they cook. And the reason we do that is A, they cook quick, and they also look rather good. And what I do is I take the knife, and you'll see as I rotate it that it's going almost all the way through, and then I run that to somewhere near the tail without splitting it all the way down. So you end up with a cut like that, and that's how it ends up. So I'll do it one more time for you, show you. So we take the prawn, what I do is I lay it across my fingers like that, pinch it, and then run the knife safely between the two. And you need a nice sharp knife to do this. And then you run it. And if you find anything of the vein left in the back, you can then take it out as well. But these have been cleaned rather well, as I see here. Right, they're ready to go. Right, the next thing I want to do is I want to get my curry paste made up, and that's really quite a simple job, because I don't mess about. I'm not claiming this is any authentic Asian curry recipe. It's just my lazy cook way of doing it. So what I want to do first, let's get these out of the way, and we'll get my food processor bowl up, and then I'll just start cutting things up and putting them in. Now I'm going to save a few of these shallots. You can use onions if you like, round about the same volume. And I'm just going to I'll put most of those in, because I want to make a curry paste to make this really quick and easy to do. It looks complicated when you first try it, but trust me, once you get started on this, it's not bad at all. So I want to get these cut up so that they blend rather easily. And I'm going to leave those other 4, say half an onion's worth at the back. I'm going to leave those because I'm going to put those in hot, only slightly more chunkier. So in there goes all my garlic, and there's half a head of garlic, around about 8 to 10 cloves. I also want to get in my ginger, but I'm going to peel that up a bit first because ginger can be a bit fibrous. So I'll take and I like lots of ginger, especially when I'm cooking anything to do with fish. So that goes in there. And these chilies I'm leaving out, I will do them in a different process which you'll see later. Now these are Asian bird peppers. They are fiercely hot, but they're smaller. They're very similar to the ones the Thai people use in their cuisine. Right, the next thing I want to do is get in my spices. So in goes my paprika, and a similar amount of my curry powder, maybe a little bit more of that to get a nice curry flavour. The garam masala, which I've just ground up, and it smells absolutely gorgeous. The garam masala is going to go in about half a teaspoon at the end of the cooking process. Right, the last thing I want to get into here is, well, actually there's two things I want to get in there. I want to get in a little bit of this tamarind paste. Now this is Indian tamarind paste. You can also use the juice of half a lime. It will do this job, but there you go. That's just about half a teaspoon of tamarind paste. You don't need a lot. And I'm going to chop up this tomato. That can go in there, and that one, and then we'll go and give that a run through. And another thing I'm putting in is just a teaspoon of sugar. Now whenever I'm using hot chilies, and I tend to use a hot curry powder and I use chili, so I do like quite a lot of heat in my curry, but how much you put in is entirely up to you. But I like to balance spiky heat with a little bit of sugar every time I do, and it's kind of an Asian thing to do that as well. Certainly among the Thai and the Chinese, they like to balance it with sugar. Right, I'll take this away and whiz it up. So there we go, got it back, looking for all the world like a red Thai curry paste, and ready to use. So the next thing I want to do, what I've done is I've cut up the remaining shallots into chunks, and we'll get started now on the cooking process. Okay, won't waste any time. Into the pan goes about 4 tablespoons of oil. That's a hot pan. Into that goes a decent pinch of panch prawn, a decent pinch of karapili or curry leaves, and I'll snap it in half, my Indian bay leaf. And then into that I want to go my shallots, and we'll give all that a stir. So those little fellas are going to start popping now, all those little seeds. So into that, as soon as it starts to pop, we want to get in our curry paste and get that frying off. And then what we want to do is we want to stir and fry now. and we want to fry that down until the mixture, which is the shallots and the curry paste, we want that to start giving off a kind of sweet smell. So the process is known as buna or bunje, depending on your culture, and we want to get that buna down till it's nice and thick, until it's lost some of its liquid, and we just do that by keeping it moving over fairly high heat. So one of the great advantages of cooking this way is that it concentrates the flavours very much, and you get a kind of, people say, oh, the second day taste is better. Well, this is kind of a way of getting the second day taste on the first day. You just got to keep it moving, just don't let it burn. And when it starts to catch on the bottom and looks like it's about to burn, that's when you need to move on to the next stage, because that's when you'll be getting that characteristic sweet smell as the sugars in the ginger, onion and garlic, or the shallots, has turned into sugar, has come out. So you want to keep a bit of water to one side, and I've used about, just over a cup of water, which I'm swilling out don't want to waste all the flavour in that lovely bowl, so I'm going to keep that to one side and use that to lighten it somewhat. Just keep it moving, keep it stirring and frying. It's worth the time, trust me, it's going to be gorgeous. So now you see, look, it's starting to catch on the bottom, and I'm getting that characteristic sweet smell coming off. So now's the time to think about adding a little bit of liquid to it, and then we fry it down again, just a little bit. And this second frying is what gives it that really special flavour. And at this time I'm going to add in all my chilies, which have now split lengthways. I like the contrast of the green chilies in the reddish kind of sauce. I really like that. Plus the flavour's excellent on them. Spiky and excellent. So I'm going to let that cook on for a little bit more, keep it stirring and frying. It's going to want to catch again. Now that texture of sauce, you would call a buna sauce in British Indian restaurant style. That's kind of like a buna sauce. And that's the texture I particularly like, especially if I'm going to eat it with bread. But we'll make this a little bit more liquid because I want to eat it with rice. I'm going to add a little bit more oil to that. Just a little bit. It needs to look a bit oily but not greasy, if you know what I mean. Now I'm going to go in with a taste test. I want to see what that will taste like just now. That's good, but it needs the flavours lifting with a bit of salt, so we'll get some salt into there. I'm adding about a teaspoon of salt to that, so good salt, sea salt, kosher salt, something like that, Himalayan salt even better. Get that in there. And right now I'm going to put in those prawns. So watch the prawns go in. And it wants to be at this kind of frying stage when you add them, because the texture of the prawns is so much better when you do. And I see a lot of prawn curry recipes. I've even researched a few looking at this, and I think in a lot of cases people overcook them. Prawns have got a fantastic texture, but if you overcook them they lose it, they become raggy and horrible. So you just want to cook it till it's just about firming up. And these will form neat little rings like this one, you see, look. They're just starting to form it as they cook. Now once you're getting it forming like that, that's the texture. The texture's just right on those. So what I'm going to do now is perk it up with a little bit of lime. So that's just a sort of edge of lime and another one. So all I've done is shave the sides off that lime and squeeze those into it. So the next thing I want to do is get that turning. Give it another little taste. New spoon. Yeah, that pops. That's just right. So now I'm going to add some more water. And at this stage you add as much water as you want. You just want enough water to get it to the consistency you like. So this is going on rice. So we're kind of pretty close. And then you can turn the heat right down. So turn it down to a simmer once you've done this. I'm using a cast iron pot. This is a cast iron enamel pot. And what I want to do is I want to have enough liquid in it to get this fond off the bottom, because that is pure flavour. All that fond on the bottom there, that's pure flavour. So I want enough liquid in it to do that. Just a little bit more, because some of that is going to cook off. So that's about right, and you see how the prawns are curled up lovely like that. They cook really quickly when you do them like this, so you don't need to cook them for too long. And that is just about right. So I'm actually going to turn off the heat with that and let that sit there for a minute or two, and then I can just add a final flourish of garam masala. So about half a teaspoon of garam masala. Oh, that smells so gorgeous and lemony. I'm going to put a bit more in that because that. So let's say about 3/4 of a teaspoon of garam masala. And stir that in nicely, just so that it gets the retiring heat. And you'll see now that the fond is being lifted. All that lovely flavour is lifted from the bottom of the pot. Handy little spatula this. So many thanks to my dear friend Reshmi. She gave it me in 2017, and the handle's split and all sorts of things because I stick it in my dishwasher. But I haven't got the heart to throw it away, so I've mended it with some kitchen string. Love it. And it's so handy for checking the fond. So that's ready. That's just sitting there ready to go. So there's a final garnish we want to do, and I'll get that cut up for you now. So it's a generous pinch of dhania, and I don't chop it up too finely. I like it like that. So that's a final flourish of coriander. Just give that a little stir, see what it looks like. But I promise you, boys and girls, that is not shabby. Now there's another version I do, which is I make it a little bit hotter to start with, and I use coconut milk in it, and that's rather nice as well. That's more like a Goan style. But this is how I like it most of the time, just a plain tomato base curry. That, boys and girls, is not shabby at all. Hey friends, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you would like to follow my channel, please subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell icon and select all to receive notifications for all my future videos. It would be great to hear from you in the comments, and I'll try to get back to as many of you as possible. You may wish to check out these titles or even help me out with a donation using the links in the description below the video. Thanks for watching.